So I want to talk to you starting off with that little toxin that comes to your dinner. It's actually not a little toxin, it's a big toxin, but it is in 75% of the food that we eat today, and that is in the grocery stores today, and it is called glyphosates. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you have never heard of it. You might have heard of it from me because I do talk about it often on my Instagram feed and stories, but it is being sprayed all over our farming and food industry. It's in so much of the food today that we eat, and it is a known carcinogen that causes cancer. I don't know if you guys follow the news a lot, but there's a lot of stuff going on right now with Monsanto being sued because of how this toxin, which is the main ingredient in Roundup, is causing cancer, and now they are being sued. They have several cases of them being sued for this toxin causing cancer. So it's just so important to be aware of it because it's just in so much of what we eat today, and it will destroy not only your health, but your gut microbiome. I think a lot of people, they associate with like being having a gluten allergy to just, I can't eat gluten, I'm allergic to it. I'm sure they can feel it in their gut, but what's actually happening is that they actually have a glyphosate sensitivity, not a gluten sensitivity. It is in the whole wheat industry is just not the same as it used to be. It's completely processed now. It's being drowned in toxins, which is so sad. But now that's what's bringing up and flaring up all of these allergies, these food allergies, because it literally tears down the gut microbiome. And once your gut microbiome has been compromised, and it can happen not only just from glyphosates, but glyphosates will directly tear it down quickly. But other things that tear down your gut as well is sugar, processed foods, gluten, conventional meat and dairy, antibiotics, a lot of over-the-counter medications, medicine that you may be taking consistently. All of that together just destroys the gut microbiome. And then over time, alcohol as well. If you consume high amounts of alcohol daily, that disrupts the gut microbiome as well. So what happens once your gut is compromised is that it can lead to leaky gut syndrome. I think a lot of us have had or have leaky gut to a degree, because if you follow a diet that's not consistently clean and focused on nourishing your gut can easily be compromised. So we all have, a lining around our gut and little finger-like tissues that's called villi. Once we start eating a diet high in all these foods that actually disrupt the gut instead of nourish the gut, eventually those little tissues, like a rubber band on my hand, the little villi, finger-like tissues actually get mowed down and they go away. And that's actually how we absorb our nutrients from the food that we eat, is that they get absorbed through the villi. Once those tissues are gone because of, this unhealthy diet that we've been following and having things in the diet that actually damage that good villi, our body can no longer absorb nutrition properly. So that's why there's a lot of severe nutritional deficiencies. That's why you may be, anemic, or, you may be struggling with autoimmune conditions, because once your gut lining gets disrupted and over time it gets eaten away, your gut lining gets little holes created in it along the lining. And once those holes are there, then all the little food particles from the food you eat go right through the lining of the gut into your bloodstream. And then your body turns on, an autoimmune response because it's looking at those food materials like basically an enemy has entered the bloodstream and it goes on attack basically. So then your body starts to attack its own self. So that is how inflammation begins. That is how leaky gut syndrome begins. And that is the number one precursor for autoimmune conditions. Because if you know about autoimmune conditions, it's your body's attacking its own self and organs. And it's most of it, because that microbiome, once it gets disrupted, your body goes into high alert. It's, every time you eat, that's what's happening. It's like all going back into your bloodstream, and then your body gets really flared up and inflamed. So super important to be aware of that. Like I said, I think a lot more people have leaky gut than they even realize, and a compromised, just a compromised gut microbiome. This little toxin, glyphosate, like I said, it just tears down the gut microbiome. It's so important to eat 100% organic as much as you possibly can, and just to eat clean whole foods in their just whole food form as much as possible. Fresh fruits and veggies, you know, all of that really good stuff that you can get your hands on as much as possible. And just cut out the foods that are going to disrupt that gut, because that, and not to say that you can't, you know, have any, you know, treats or, you know, little cheats, you know, here and there, but just trying to follow a diet as consistently as you can with just eating clean foods as much as possible is going to keep that gut nourished and balanced. I'm all about balance. I'm not about, you know, deprivation or like these hardcore, you know, you can't have this and can't have that ever, but just trying to eat as clean and consistently balanced for optimal health as much as you can is what's going to keep your gut nourished. Also, you know, adding things in that really fuel and nourish the gut as well is going to make a big difference. It's so important to be taking a good probiotic, a good digestive enzyme. All of those things are going to help your body to absorb nutrition more efficiently. And I personally use a glyphosate flusher every day. I will never go a day without it. It's so important because, like I said, you can't be 100% away from glyphosates. It's even sadly in organic food, not as much as the food that's not organic. So I highly recommend eating as organic as possible. But unfortunately, it's just there. It's in the air we breathe. It's in the water we drink. It's in the food we eat. So I believe in taking a really good glyphosate flusher that can remove this toxin out of the gut, protect the gut, and keep the gut as fueled as possible. I kind of look at it like a little gatekeeper for your gut microbiome. Also adding in just really good nutrition just to keep that body fueled, keep those nutrition, your gut fueled, and keeping those nutritional gaps filled as well is super important, because like I said, if you're healing your gut, you're going to be nutrient deficient. So it's really important to be just kind of adding in some really good nutritional support on top of a clean diet, just to kind of quickly fill those nutritional gaps. I myself use superfoods. I take these incredible organic, 100% non-GMO, raw superfoods just as a supplement to kind of keep my body nourished. And I'll tell you why, because I at one point I also have had a leaky gut syndrome and a compromised gut. A few years back, even when I thought I was eating as healthy as possible, I still ended up having a compromised gut microbiome. And that's because I think I was still having gluten that had these toxins in it that I didn't cut out of my diet. So I ended up having vertigo, anxiety, severe fatigue, severe anemia, just these really strange symptoms that I've never experienced in my life before. And once I kind of really got to the root cause, because after going to the doctors, naturopaths, nobody actually ever mentioned my gut needing to be nourished and probably being compromised. It wasn't until I did my own personal research that I realized, wow, I think my gut is actually compromised. And once I worked to nourish and heal my gut, all those symptoms completely disappeared. So just want you guys to be aware, pay attention to your gut health, pay attention to that little nasty toxin that could be in your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Remember, the more clean and whole foods you eat, the less likely you're going to have that toxin in your meals. Keep it healthy, keep it clean, fuel your gut every single day. And I promise you, you are going to feel amazing. If you're struggling with any ailments, chronic ailments of any kind, I'm telling you, the gut is at the core of all of that. Heal your gut, and I promise you, you're going to heal your health. If you ever need any tips, advice, you're always welcome to DM me. I'm always happy to share. Have an awesome weekend, you guys. Talk soon.